All right.
So fun.
We're in the Matrix.
Sick.
Oh, I need to put my shirt back on.
What? I thought that was your shirt. You don't want to go for that James Dean look? Wow.
Hi.
Hi.
This is the Photo Department. This is a very special episode of the Photo Department. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Hi, I'm Eiselle, and I am a designer in San Francisco. And I'm also Eiselle on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Megabus going to Los Angeles.
Yes.
And we bonded over our love for
Aaron Draplin.
Right.
But that's like the short version.
I mean, this episode is gonna not be that. It's gonna be like
true.
10 minutes long, maybe.
Okay.
Eiselle and I became really fast friends. We bonded over design and other cool things alike. Eiselle is actually the person behind all of the branding for the photo department. So the logo at the beginning and at the end and on the very bottom of the screen over here, she designed it.
Yes.
She's also in the middle of a rebrand for the photo department and my new company, Photo Department Films, but that's not done yet.
So check it out.
You're a designer?
Yes.
What is your main, discipline as a designer?
My main discipline as a designer is I am a food packaging illustrator and restaurant rebrander. So I basically do a lot of illustrations for food packaging that ends up on shelves, but also I work a lot with sole proprietorships and really dope chefs in the Bay Area. And I just have this chance to do really good work for really good people. And I've been doing that for the past 4 years.
You're very much of here.
I am very much of here.
But
I was born here.
You were born here.
No, I wasn't.
But you grew up in
LA.
Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So
That's
technically,
how we met.
Right. So technically Los Angeles native, but I feel like you're one of the most San Francisco people I know.
People get really disappointed when they find out I'm not from here.
I'm not disappointed, but I feel like you've assimilated into this community and in the designer culture, but in a way that's kind of subversive because a lot of designers and a lot of people I meet who are very San Francisco are techie. And you don't run, you don't run techie at all.
No.
Which is refreshing. That's why I like you so much.
Aw, I like you too. Amazing.
Great.
By the way, I'm quitting my job and working for Google tomorrow.
Perfect. Hey, get that money, chase that bag.
Got you.
We're drinking today. These are KSA by Fort Point Beer Company because it's 10:30 at night and it's too late for coffee. Yeah, this is the KSA. It's the Kolsch. This is my favorite. I didn't even ask you what beer you like. I brought you 2 different cases of the same beer because I liked it. They're for you.
I have to like it.
But you do
Screw
like
my opinion.
You didn't tell me, so... Oh, but
you
we
didn't
also...
ask.
Yeah, the onus was on me to ask. That's true. We also have... It's Italian-style Pilsner.
Yep.
Also very good.
Great color.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not super far off from my brand. It's pretty far off.
Spoilers. Yes, it's pretty far off.
My
It's
brand
nothing
is already...
like branding.
The photo department already has the same color. Never mind. Anyway.
They actually ripped you off.
They ripped me off.
I respect Manual. They designed the cans.
I've never heard of them. So Manual is
another design firm.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And they do food packaging as well, obviously. We bonded initially over Aaron Draplin.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about a little bit who that is and why we like him so much?
So basically when I met Chris, I was still in school and I was working on a project and it was kind of along the practice of make a website over your favorite designer. And then I remember like sitting next to this guy and I was just like working on my laptop, trying to mind my own business. All of a sudden it was like, yeah, I think you did the wave thing and you're like, do you work for Aaron Draplin? And I like chuckled because I'm like, I wish.
Well, because I was diagonally behind you one row on the opposite side, right?
No, we were sitting right next to each other.
No,
because
we weren't.
originally, yeah.
Are you sure?
Because originally, that's why I was like, the story's much longer than it was because I was the dumbass who didn't know that they had reserved seats on Megabus, so I moved around a lot and I tried avoiding sitting next to you.
You did?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I was like, I don't want to talk to anyone on the bus and you have one of those faces who I might want to talk to.
Which is funny because like I don't, when I'm on a bus or like public transit, I try to look like a person who doesn't want to talk, so I don't end
But
up
the person
embarrassing.
behind us, Shay.
Shay. Wow,
Yeah.
I almost forgot. I
Yeah.
didn't forget about her, but wow.
I mean, I remember like Shay because she offered us brownies, and
Yeah.
then your reaction was like, "Are these brownies?"
Oh, right.
And it just didn't dawn on me because I was still super like young and naive.
I thought they were weed brownies. They
Yeah.
weren't,
They weren't.
unfortunately.
They were special though.
They were really good.
So the reason why I personally really like Aaron Draplin is because he definitely pays homage to really simple, thick lines in a very beautiful way. And the way that he structures, like Aaron Draplin is this unconventional designer, which is kind of like an FU to like most designers in San Francisco, which I love because he's this big man who's really, really loud and he like just wears trucker gear and he's just like super duper welcoming and he's not the whole like I wear black all the time and he's just like a personality and so unapologetically him and like he just seems like a really good person and I adopted his mantra of do good work for good people and I feel like that is what set me into like the direction of design that I want to go to eventually.
I like Aaron Draplin. So Draplin's design company is called Draplin & Co., right? No.
Draplin Design Company.
DDC, sorry.
Yeah.
I knew that. Draplin
Did you?
Design Company, right. And Draplin Design Company has a line of products called Field Notes. And Field Notes are these very simple little notebooks you can put in your pocket. I used to carry one on me all the time. I actually have a collection of, I think, about 120 different editions of them.
Yeah.
The design is incredible. I think they're all Futura, right?
They're all Futura bold. And I feel like that's kind of the overlap between like you and me because you're just like such a Futura bold hoe.
Yeah, I am.
And like for the longest time, I also was a Futura bold hoe.
Yeah.
But like not Futura, but like Futura bold, you know?
I feel like now it's more Futura medium for me.
Oh, wow.
That's Futura medium.
Ah.
Futura bold. Medium.
Magic. Yeah.
That is the overlap. Yeah, we
Yeah.
both really love the Futura font family.
Yes.
And another reason why I really like Futura is because that is Wes Anderson's choice of font for a lot of
Yeah.
his design language when it comes to his movies. We are, by the way, in your office, your home office.
My home office.
Yeah, this is
Pretty.
where all the magic happens.
Yep, all the magic.
As far as COVID is
yeah.
concerned, you do all your magic here. Like everything here is just like stuff I see where I'd be like, oh, if I saw this out in the world somewhere, I'd be like, oh, you would love this.
Aww.
Because like I feel like I know you
That's
so
how
well
you
now.
work, you know, that's, you know, the tattoo, the brands, there's
Yeah,
Gotta
it's just
do.
everything. I mean, you do have a crap load of plants over there, but I mean like
oxygen.
oxygen and happiness.
Yes. It's my ecosystem.
Right, I mean,
Ecosystem of happiness.
instant mood booster.
Yes.
Right. So, when you're not designing food packaging and doing restaurant rebrands, what kind of things you like working on? Do you have like passion projects that you're really into?
I used to do a lot of passion projects, and I feel like people who have been with me since day one have always known me to like do these series on Instagram, and I would just like, it kind of grew into like more and more passion projects where I would give out free stickers in the mail because stickers make people happy, and then that eventually evolved into prints that always had a theme to it, but it's usually like what I'm feeling or like shit that I'm going through, so it's usually a passion project per breakup. To be honest.
Yeah, I mean, same with every musician ever.
Yeah, you know, and then I think now the main focus is probably Instagram because right now I'm just really focused on work since work has gone really busy. I'm doing a lot of freelancing, and then I'm also just doing online activism at the same time too.
Right, and you just recently, at the beginning of the, I guess, most recent wave of the Black Lives Matter movement, you became kind of a, I guess, kind of a waypoint for people online looking for resources or trying to find a place where they can get more information about the movement and then ancillary things that are going on with that. So, you went from, I don't know, 4,000 followers? What did you have? You had like maybe 2,000.
No, you had more followers than me. I only broke at the very start, I had 1,000.
Okay, so you had 1,000 followers. And in the last 6 months, you have amassed over 80,000 followers. Yeah. So do you want to talk about a little bit about what started that and then what happened?
It's all a blur.
Well, what started at the beginning? What?
Very beginning.
The very beginning. So what ended up happening is you started creating these infographics, kind of, right? Is that what you'd call them?
To a certain extent.
Okay. I don't know what I'm not a designer, so I'm not going to call them. No. I moonlight, no, I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not a designer.
You just have to say it with a smiling face. I'm like, yeah.
But you started out with these really design-focused, informational posts.
Yes.
And then what happened?
I think essentially what happened was, I've been designing in San Francisco for a really long time. Ever since I stepped foot in San Francisco, I'm kind of that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And I always thought about it definitely occurred to me in the past couple of years too, because I got more and more in tune with my first generation Filipino American side and what that means to me and me tying back into my culture. And I feel that is why I did art before all of this, the way that I did, because a lot of the things I did art about was kind of raunchy, kind of really dry humor, very tongue-in-cheek type of thing, which my mom would never approve of.
Right.
But I think as, because of quarantine and just a lot of introspection, I was kind of I should probably do something a lot more meaningful rather than drawing silly things, which is something I still do because it's that is who I am, and me being a woman of color designer in San Francisco specifically already is a discourse within itself, and it's already a political statement.
Yeah.
Because design is so predominantly white, and I understand that, but I realized when I would look at designers, I'm kind of where are the color designers? Where are the color firms? Where are the diverse firms out there? And it's really, really important, and then how that eventually bled into the stuff online and through Instagram. It was very much so a feeling of helplessness, because at first it was okay, I'm going to do donation-based commissions. Mm-hmm. And I remember doing that, but then I just had this itch. I was kind of this isn't enough. People should be making donations regardless, and they shouldn't have a bribe regardless. Mm-hmm. But then the most pivotal point was definitely Blackout Tuesday.
Right.
And I remember
that was a big pivotal point for a lot of people, I feel. Right?
It was a very, very big pivotal point. But even before Blackout Tuesday, there was a lot of designers just hand lettering Maya Angelou quotes and people just doing art and designs for that. And I was kind of okay. But then Blackout Tuesday was kind of what really punched me in the gut, because I was at that point where I'm kind of okay, I've never been super vocal about politics, and I've never been super woke, and I've never been one who people would see as ooh, political girl there. You know me.
Yeah. They don't, but I do.
I do, yeah. But I think Blackout Tuesday was just, I was angry and really upset, and my initial response was all my resources are gone, because I got to the point before Blackout Tuesday and before all this where I'm kind of I want to learn more about what I can do in my existence in the world, Mm-hmm.
So was your anger stemmed from basically the really performative aspect of Blackout Tuesday? Because I know talking to people, because I ended up actually making a post. I did the whole black square thing on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And then I instantly took it down.
Yeah.
I got a DM from somebody right after I took it down. They're hey, you shouldn't do this because this is why.
Yeah.
And then once someone explained, I kind of knew what happened as soon as I put it up. I was wait, this is really performative and dumb. took it right down. And I had a bunch of people that were like, hey, this is why you shouldn't do that. And I was like, I know, I took it down. Like, I didn't even think, like, I didn't even realize. I thought I was being an ally.
I had the same, like, gut reaction to where I'm kind of like, okay, good intention. But then immediately I'm kind of like, wait.
But isn't that the echo chamber of, like, social media? It's like, monkey see, monkey do. Like, you think it's, like, a good thing, but in reality, you're just kind of, like, doing nothing.
I mean, I feel like Blackout Tuesday was definitely like, oh, shit, like, we're all sheep.
Well, I think the thing that happened, from my perspective, is that it was a thing that was good intentions,
poorly executed.
Yes. But what ended up happening was so many conversations stemmed from the execution being bad.
That's true.
That we ended up with a discourse that was much more positive in the outcome. So it was kind of like.
So it's kind of fuck you, Blackout Tuesday, but thank God for Blackout Tuesday, because I feel like tying back to the earlier, like 2 minutes ago of the conversation, like that is what made me. Something just like clicked, because I remember seeing all these black squares and I panicked, and my first initial reaction was like, do the exact fucking opposite of what everyone is doing. And that is what happened. I think like that day I ended up making like 16 posts or like 25 posts or like 30 posts of just like combating Blackout Tuesday, because I feel like design is so functional and it has to be intentional.
Yes.
And my immediately reaction was, okay, how can I disrupt what's happening?
Because the one of the things that people were saying to me was like, your intentions are good, but what you're actually doing is like you're getting rid of like where the resources are being posted.
Yeah.
Because you're just clogging up the Black Lives Matter tag with nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my like 1,000 followers types of things, I'm like, I'm gonna try to help. And like I'm gonna like try to help people who are kind of like me, who are just trying to learn and like have access to all these things. And then all of a sudden like these posts just turned into like something big, and then all of a sudden it just kind of blew up in the span of maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In like 2 weeks it ended up like growing, and then people started posting, and like my sister's friends from LA were like, yeah, my friends, and like everyone just kept on reaching out. I'm like, I did not mean this to happen, but.
But the thing was, for me seeing it, aside from, what had happened Blackout Tuesday, it was literally one of the first times I saw, because I've seen design be functional before, but it was like one of the first times I've seen in a social media space, in a space talking about race and politics and what's happening with the Black Lives Matter movement. It was my first time being like, wow, this is intentional and functional design. Aww. All the like tongue-in-cheek, like crude, cartoony stuff that you were drawing was really, I mean, even if it was kind of like crass and like tongue-in-cheek, it's really good. Like it's really like great, and I'll show some stuff that you've done, but like really, really cool, and like people really responded to it. You tapped into something that was like so necessary, because it's people, there were people all over the world that were looking at what you were doing, and they were like, wow, this is actionable. These are resources I can use. This is like information that's easy to digest. It wasn't partisan either. It wasn't like Democrats this, Republicans this. It was just like, here are facts.
I mean, I feel like adding on to that, it's just like me getting more and more in tune with how I grew up. And, I grew up very much so with people telling me what to do and like what to believe. And I just never thought like, that was part of the reason why I never was vocal about politics in the first place, because moving up here from, LA is a very different lifestyle. And I just like got really, really intimidated in the fact that like I still am the person who like draws silly things, but it's kind of like, I feel like at first when I thought politics, I thought of a very definite person, and like this is what someone who is involved in politics like looks like.
Yeah. Like a suit.
And it's kind of like alienating in a way, but then I don't know what caused me to realize this, but it's kind of like politics is literally for everyone, because everyone is involved in politics.
Well, yeah, because the problem with politics, and the reason why I feel like politics is kind of alienating by design. Yeah.
Yes. And like that is also a reason why I think the post blew up, because a lot of like political designs, like me also being like a designer and just really having gut reactions towards things that I see, it's kind of like I know people don't like reading a lot. Like that's just the nature of things. People don't like reading, and people like things that are just very like straightforward and like clear cut and like to the point. But then it surprised me that no one was doing that before all this.
I think people get like caught up in whatever they're doing and don't kind of like see the gaps. And
Yeah.
like you had a very clear, I mean, being a woman of color in the Bay Area during this time, you just had a very visceral reaction to what was right in front of you. Because I didn't see anything like that. I didn't go like, oh, I should make posts or whatever that are like this, because like that's not my experience. Like I don't suffer from the same like alienation from politics that you do, because when I see politicians or people who are involved in politics, I see white men like me, but when you look at politicians and politics, you don't see
And like
yeah. And so like that's the whole like gap there. But then you literally found the key. You found like that little thing that was missing that can bridge that gap, and that's what engaged so many people who are younger and not white.
It was really weird to, like, I didn't even reach that realization until like 3 months in or 4 months. I was just more so, I'm like, cool, people think this works.
And that's the thing. It wasn't like you had you didn't have like a weird agenda. You just were like, what do? I design. And like, what is something that could be helpful right now? Design with purpose and intention. And you just did it.
Yeah.
So,
thanks.
I mean, that's the truth. And that's kind of why it worked so well. Because I think if there was some like firm who like think tank this whole thing and like try to come up with like a campaign, like that shit falls flat because you see right through it.
I think that's like another thing, because I remember like tweeting with rage and like, design firms, why are you guys doing anything about this? And my friends were like, call them out. I'm like, I can't, I'm on private.
And they're just like, it doesn't get us any money, that's why.
I was like, I can't. But I think, I don't know, I had nothing to lose. And I'm kind of like, I already had a very outward, like, very unfiltered perspective. And I feel like that's who I am as a person. I'm kind of like, I'm just going to say what I want. And I'm just going to do what I want.
Yeah. And on the face, you did have everything to gain as far as, like, just flexing your design muscle. Like, even if it didn't blow up, like, I think that it was, if social media didn't catch on to it, I still think it was a very expressive, it was just like a very successful like practice of basically like putting into action design with function and design with intention. And it was like kind of like the starkest idea of what that could be that I've seen in a long time. So I thought it was really, I think it's really impressive. I'm impressed by it. I'm impressed by you.
Oh, I'm impressed by you too.
So you're working on a rebrand for me right now.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about a little bit about what?
Not giving it away.
It doesn't really matter. You won't know what it is unless you see it, so it doesn't really matter.
I feel like I'm just gonna give you the same spiel that I gave to you yesterday. Like,
it's okay.
Last night. Okay.
It's fine. It was very concise.
It was very touching. Like, I thought you were gonna cry for like a hot second. You're like, oh, you know my soul. I'm like,
okay, so I don't know. So I'm not a designer. So me having to kind of like explain in my head like what my intentions are when I'm trying to like convey like a brand or whatever. Because like I don't think of myself as like being branded. The photo department is like a company and there's branding, but it's not. I'm not really trying to sell you anything. It's just like saying like this is here it is, here I am.
yeah.
In the most plainest language possible. The photo department. I mean, how plain can you get? Having no idea how to explain what's in my head, and then having you like put that on paper and have it be like something that I didn't even think of, but being perfect.
I was really worried.
Why?
I don't know. Like, I remember just like design. So the rebrand, it's like photo department
Wait. Before you get to the rebrand, why don't you talk about the original branding?
The original branding was kind of like, I kind of knew exactly what you wanted, but what I presented you with was it was different. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be really, really intentional, but down the road, I know that you're going to use Futura if I put it on there. Like, I just knew.
True.
But I just wanted to be like, oh, let's see if he actually confirms my guess. And I knew that you wanted the sage green because it's like, that is essentially like your thing, you know?
It's my favorite color.
It's your favorite color.
It's very pleasing.
Yes.
It doesn't have like a bias really. It's nature focused.
It's soft.
It's soft, which
Yes.
I'm very soft.
Yes.
And I didn't want it to be, I wasn't trying to like.
It's not really pretentious.
And it's not selling anything. Like, you know how like reds or yellows are supposed to be good for like if you're make people hungry when you're in a restaurant or whatever. And like blues are supposed to calm people down or whatever. Like, I just wanted it to be
straightforward.
Yeah.
And it was like a fairly like quick project too.
The original branding was like straightforward, really simple.
Yeah.
And was meant to just kind of be, here it is.
Yeah.
Easy to digest, welcoming.
But I feel like it was also basing off of like things that you already created for yourself, and like I feel like you already had Futura at hand in your computer.
I did.
Yeah, so it's just more so like a taking it what you already have and just like elevating it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, elevating it. So this time around, it feels well. The thing is it feels very familiar, where it's not, you're not taking something and just like throwing it against the wall and seeing what happens. You had like a lot of intention with it. You took cues and you took direction from what was already there, but you then, it's totally different, but it's very familiar.
Yeah.
So what brought you to where you ended up at? Because you use a different font entirely. Futura's gone.
Yeah. Well, you can still retain Futura. We'll talk about it later.
Futura's not gone. It's just
not
like
gone. It's still there.
It's not the center.
Essence.
Yeah. It can still be used, but it's not. It's no longer the crutch of the design. But yeah, so talk about what you were thinking.
I think everything that was created in the rebrand, just I knew exactly what to do.
I mean, you did.
And it was weird.
The company for my filmmaking and for my commercial video stuff is called Photo Department Films, which we landed on just talking because I realized like, why separate it when it could just be the same thing under the photo department umbrella?
Yeah.
And it's all the same. Whatever. It doesn't need to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's simple.
And that was just more so like a strategy that I was kind of like, I was just like inching you into like don't stray so far away. Because it's like you're one person. But then in thinking about the redesign, it's kind of like, okay, when I think Chris, every time I hang out with you, you're like holding a camera. Chris likes handmade things, handcrafted things.
I do.
Like, we literally just ate a pizza that your friend made with his hands.
The best pizza I've ever had.
Really? Jordan.
I've made a video about him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And like, just knowing you really like working with your hands, and like, you are a musician and things, you just a handy guy.
I'm a handy man.
You're a handy man. And you also like coffee that you make with your hands. Not that actually, you know what I mean. But then I also thought about how like you have this artistic abstract side to you too, and like you're essentially down to the core an artist, and which is why I wanted to retain the whole like camera element. And I kind of came up with like an abstract shape that's kind of like, okay, you can kind of see it, but apparently like it does look like something. That thingy.
It kind of looks like
a thingy.
It looks like what I would imagine, because I used to do electronics engineering. It looks like what would be on a schematic to denote a camera. Yeah. And so this is the perfect time for a rebrand because, I'm going headfirst into filmmaking, which is like really scary, but also super fun. But I've never done it before. And, you've literally like, I don't know, shaped a generation as far as like design with function goes.
Yeah, I mean, like, speaking, like, and going back to the rebrand, though, I don't want to, like, divert.
Right.
Like, just think about the debate and
Reel
how, like,
it
no
in.
questions.
Reel it in.
Like, every single time I would talk to you about photography, you would always have this focus on light, and you would think about, like, composition, and you're, like, such a light hoe, too.
I'm a light hoe. Yeah. Light is very important to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just, like, the stuff that you do, because I obviously think that you're very talented, and I just take the compliment.
I'll take it.
Okay. Take the compliment or leave my household. But just like taking all that you've told me about photography and like why you love it and like why it is so close to your heart. Like the way that you talk about photography is how I talk about design sometimes.
We're such nerds.
I know, but you have glasses.
But what does that have to do with
anything?
anything?
I don't know, science.
That just means I can't see well. It's interesting how you kind of like knew exactly kind of how to nail it down, but also it's really kind of indicative of my progression of my career and your progression as a designer.
Oh.
Because your original design for my brand was perfect for the time. I loved it. But then this new design shows how you've progressed. because it's really intuitive.
You've progressed.
No, I know, but you've progressed, and that's why you're able to do it the way you did.
Yeah.
Because you intuitively were able to see like what my brand is like about, and then like really put it down in a design that I looked at. And I remember looking at it. I got it on my phone. I was like, I don't remember where I was, but I was like, not home.
You're driving.
I was driving. I was driving. Don't text and drive.
Stop it.
And I look and I click on the PDF and I'm looking at it and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I'm driving. I'm like gonna die because it was so like it wasn't what was in my head, but it was what was in my
heart.
The intention of like our conversation. We had a conversation about it, but it wasn't like. It wasn't down to the nitty gritty. It was like really heady, high level shit. And so when you put the design down, it was kind of like, how did you even know? Like, how did you do it?
I just know you.
Yeah, that question was rhetorical, but yes. By the time this video is out, the new design will be rolled out, but I love it.
Oh.
It's amazing. I would never ask any other designer to do work for me because why even bother? Thank you for
coming over.
Thank you for tattooing me.
Hey.
So yeah, you'll see the redesign soon, or you'll see it by the time this video is out. You can find Eiselle online in the description below. I'll have all the links to all your work, and if you want to hire her for freelance work, she is available for that. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Obviously, if you have questions for Eiselle, you can put them in the comments below, and I will make sure we do a follow up.
Slip into the DMs.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
The
it's
DMs
a black hole.
Yeah, it's crazy right now. So drop any questions you have for her in the comments. We will do a follow up video where she answers your questions. It'll be really fun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I guess that's what I agreed to.
You didn't, but guess what? It's happening.
On point.
Wash your hands.
Yes.
Wear a mask. Stay safe.
Mask. Drink water.
Stay off Twitter.
Stay up. Yes.
Twitter's okay.
We're not gonna tell you what
Cheers.
to do.